I had set these up for you, but this, going through the review, the first two problems, you will find two ordered pairs. And when you're given two ordered pairs and they want you to find the slope-intercept form of the equation, the first and do the plug and chug into the y equals mx plus b. So that's the way I'm going to do these problems here on the front. For the two y values up top, I put -4 minus 0, and then on the bottom I had 5 minus 4. Okay, so around, a lot of you had a slope of -4, so that was correct. I am just going to suggest to you that if you guys get -4 over 1 or any of that one, it's just a whole number. Okay, it's easier to plug in a whole number than it is a fraction, but like if this were a 3, you'd have to leave it as -4/3. You can't drop the 3 off the bottom, but you can always drop the 1. Okay, and then somebody just tell me what ordered pair you used for the plug and chug part. The 4, 0, okay. And it doesn't matter which ordered pair you use, I'll use the 4, 0. So the 0 is y, our m is that -4 that we just found, and then our x is +4. So what's -4 times +4? Times. You have it on your paper. -16, you guys say? Good job. Oh, okay. So if you guys use the other ordered pair, you'd be taking -4 times 5. So you guys would have had a -20 right here. But you also would have had a -4 over here. So when you add 20, just like I'm about to add my 16, you should have gotten a 16 just like I'm going to get. Your slope is upside down. You have your x's on top and your y's on bottom. So you have it flipped. Okay, so then after you find your slope and your intercept, you guys want to make sure that you write that equation at the very end, because that's always going to be your final step. Are you guys good with that one? Are you okay? All right, then problem number 2, I'm going to set this up and do this exactly the same way that I did problem number 1. So starting with the y's, I have -5 minus the 2 up top, which is -7. And then on the bottom, I did 4 minus 3, which is 1. So I wrote my slope as -7. So again, when you have that 1 on the bottom, it's just a lot easier to drop it. Yep. So you would have had +7, -1. You still would have ended up with a -7. All right, I'm going to use this ordered pair, and the reason I'm using 3, 2 is just because both of the numbers are positive, and I've told you guys plenty of times, if I ever have the chance to use 2 positives, I'm going to. So my y value was the 2, my slope was the -7, and then my x would have been that 3. So what is -7 times 3? -21. And as soon as you do that multiplication, your next step is to move that number. So I multiplied to get -21, so now I'm going to add 21. Did you guys get 23? Okay. So then our equation is... Yep, good job. It was like a joint effort between 4 or 5 of you. So yeah, it's y equals -7x plus 23. Okay, any questions before I move on to the parallel problems down at the bottom? Yes? No? Okay. Okay. Then the two down here at the bottom are both parallel. So when we have parallel lines, I went through this with you yesterday. Anytime it says parallel, whatever this slope was, that's the same slope you're going to use. So these are actually a little bit easier than 1 and 2 because problems 1 and 2, you had to find the slope yourself. 3 and 4, you don't have to find the slope. It's already been given to you. Okay, so and not only that, but you guys you don't have 2 ordered pairs to pick from. There's just 1 ordered pair here, so everybody's using 3 for x and -5 for y, and everybody should be using -2 for m. So this problem, no matter who you are, we're all doing this problem the exact same way. Well, you should have. So the y value, -5, the slope was -2, and the x was 3. So everybody should have it set up that way. And what's -2 times 3? -6. And once you get -6, that's the number we move, so we're going to add 6. So B is 1. Okay, so now, just like the others, with your M and your B, y equals -2x plus 1.
Now it was only an effort from 2 people.
Right.
Well, James, that's your James.
All right. Is everybody good with that parallel one? Okay, well, the y value on number 4 is -4. The m is -6, and the x is +1. So once you have that plugged in, you multiply and then move. So we multiply to get -6,
And you have to add 6.
and then we move it by adding 6. You get 2.
The equation is y equals -6x plus 2.
Y equals -6x plus 2. What? Oh, writing the equation? That's okay. Oh, you forgot to add 6, you mean? That's okay. Now, I had asked that you guys get all of the front done. I didn't tell you guys that you had to do the back. Some of you guys were ready to go on to the back, so before, a little bit before class was over, I talked about these two on the back. We talked about when we have perpendicular lines, you don't use the slope that was given, you have to flip it and change its sign, and then that's the slope you use. So it started out as, I'm going to write this out to the side. So it started out as -1/5. So when you flip it, it becomes 5 over 1, -5 over 1, but then I'd have to change the sign. So that's where my +5 came from that we're using for the slope, okay? So if you think that you're going to forget on perpendicular that you need to flip and change the sign, that might be something you would want to write down on your page of notes. If you choose not to use a page of notes, that's fine too. You just don't get to have any kind of extra help.
Enough is from us. These will help us from.
No, I won't. Okay, so on the next one, or not the next one, but the next step, it's still that y equals mx plus b. So the y value is -5. My new slope is +5, and my x was -3.
So it's -15.
So you multiply and then move.
You have to add.
Yeah, so when you multiply, just watch your signs. Yesterday, I just kept noticing If this number was supposed to be negative, some of you would leave the negative sign off. And if you leave it off, you're going to subtract 15 when we're actually supposed to be adding 15. So just be really careful with those positives and negatives, like always. So you get a B value of 10. And then I can't remember who asked, but somebody asked yesterday if when you go to write your equation at the end, do you use the original negative 1/5 or do you use the new one? We use the new one because we're finding perpendicular. So you wouldn't go back to the original slope. You use the positive 5x and then plus 10.
I wrote it as 5/1. Is that still all right?
Yeah, of course. Yep, you can always write it as a fraction. Okay, and then number 6, the slope started out as -5. So just a hint, just a little thing that you guys should do. If your original slope is a whole number, stick a 1 underneath it to start with, because when you flip it, you have to know what number's underneath it, because that's the one that's going to go up top. So when I flip this, it becomes 1/5, and it was negative, so it becomes positive. If it had started out positive, you would make it negative. Okay, so make sure you're always changing the sign when you do these. All right, so the plug-in part, y, which was -5, equals m 1/5 x -5 plus b. Okay, do we all remember how to get this typed into the calculator when you have to type in a fraction times a whole number?
1 ABC 5 times 5.
Times -5, yeah. So just remember, anytime you have a fraction bar, just use that ABC button. So 1 ABC 5 and then times -5. And that gave you -1? Yep, so it'd be -1. And then we want to add the 1 to both sides, giving us -4 as our B value.
The equation would be y equals 1/5 x minus 4.
Okay, and I'm gonna remind you of this right now. Some of you keep sticking that x down here at the bottom with the 5. It can't be at the bottom. It either needs, so I always write it right next to my fraction bar. You can put it up top with the 1, so you could have 1x over 5, or it needs to be next to the fraction bar. It cannot, it cannot be down here. So just don't write it there. Just write it next to the fraction bar. It doesn't matter on there. I'm just telling you, like on your quiz, just make sure you put it next to the fraction bar.
I got you.
Are we good?
No, not even close.
Okay, so on your quiz, it goes from this number 6 where you have perpendicular, and it goes to, like, your number 7 on your quiz is a problem like this. You don't have one where there's a table. Now I'm going to go through the table just because, you know, it's good practice. But when you guys are given an XY chart, they've given us 3 ordered pairs. Well, we don't need all 3. We just need 2 of them. So again, it's this whole same process. Find the slope. I think I'm gonna use these two. I mean, all of your y values are negative, so it's not like I can avoid that. The 2 y values are -50 minus -8. And then the 2 x values are 9 minus 2. That would be -42 divided by 7, which is -6.
Wait, hold on. Oh, yeah, it's -8 too.
No. No, but it's just, I mean, basically we're just practicing more problems like 1 and 2. So a table problem is just like a problem we did on 1 and 2. So it's just extra practice. The only difference is, instead of just giving you 2 ordered pairs, they gave you 3, but you just pick whichever 2 you want to use. The second part is still going to be the y equals mx plus b, where you plug and chug. Now, you have 3 choices here. You either use the top, the middle, or the bottom ordered pair. I'm gonna stick with the top one just because, again, smaller numbers, so I'd prefer that. The y value was -8, our m was -6, and our x was the +2. So what is -6 times 2? -12. I am collecting that paper, so I know yesterday some of you only got done through number 6. If you haven't finished 7 and 8, you need to make sure you're writing these down as we go through them. I'm going to add 12, which will give me 4. So all of this work right here is the work for number 7. I haven't even written my equation yet, but I'm going to write it right there. What?
Can I get these?
I mean, for that you can, but not for your test. Okay, so we'd have y equals -6x plus 4. For your, oh no, just for the test.